My name is Josey, and I also go by Free Thought, and we are in Anchorage, Alaska, and I am a youth mentor, and I do creative writing and spoken word workshops. Because I was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska, and I know how hard it is for youth to actually have an outlet, something to be able to say on their own without administration, without schools, without other teachers. And so I just try to give them that ability to come and voice their opinion, voice their thoughts, and it gives them a non-violent way to get that out, because there's a lot of aggression here because there's not a lot of activity. So me wanting to get them out, yes, you can play basketball, yes, you can play football, yes, you can do all of that, but very rarely do you have the option to voice your opinion and someone actually listen to it, maybe tell you some other things to consider. But that's why I do this, is so that the kids actually have a chance and an opportunity to let Anchorage see who they are versus Anchorage telling them who they are. I got started about 3 years ago, and I was on my way to school for sound design actually when Josey was telling me about the program that he was running, and he was saying that would actually be a perfect fit. We were at the Season of Peace celebration, and I had just done a poem, and he came over and he was like, I don't care what it takes, I don't care what we got to do, but we have to get you working with these kids. This time, that's how it started. I've actually been doing this since I was about 13 years old, as far as with different youth programs. So that's kind of why it's so important to me, because I've seen it over the years not change. So I'm trying to give it something different. So when Mao did bring me that opportunity, it was almost like a godsend, because it was the perfect opportunity. It was new. It was, and I got to mold it myself. So what I did was I went out and talked to a lot of the kids, found out what it was that they wanted to do, what kind of things they were interested in, and then I reached out to some connections I had in the lower 48 to bring poets up to Alaska and to do workshops with the kids and let them know that, you know, there is a world out there outside of Anchorage. And yeah, that's pretty much why I do this. I do this because I know the kids need the opportunity to get out of themselves. And as I saw kids rapping, or I saw kids doing whatever it was that they were doing with that, I decided to help them mold that into something that was actually constructive. So we're not just talking about jewelry, or we're not just talking about what you can wear, or the girls, or whatever the case may be. I really wanted them to get in and dig into themselves, and then put that out on paper. And then for the ones who are lucky, and I say lucky because the stage fright is major, can get on stage and actually share that with a group of strangers, and to see heads nodding in agreement with you. I mean, there's no better confirmation, the fact that you're not weird. I hate to say it like that, but there's no better confirmation than to see 30, 40 strangers in a room and they're all kind of in agreement with you, with what you're saying. And so with these kids, not coming from those backgrounds, maybe not having the conventional two-parent households, or any parent households for that matter, this was an opportunity to get that family, to get that acceptance, to get someone saying that it's going to be okay. I don't want to say that I could teach, because I don't know that you can actually teach poetry or teach spoken word, but I do believe that you can teach how to get to the inner core of who you are. And to me, that's the most important thing about spoken word. I don't really care that it rhymes. I don't care. Well, I do care about punctuation, but I don't care so much about the technical side of it. As long as what's getting on the paper, coming out of the mouth, is actually what's in their heart. That's the most important thing to me. So stage helps that, because it helps to, it's real life. I mean, I know it's a stage, but that's almost like being able to practice it in real life, going to your job every day, going, you know, and dealing with friends and family. You have to be able to know who it is that you are, be confident in who it is that you are, and state that. There's a lot of things happening in the city that have nothing to do with poetry that I'm realizing that I have to be involved in now, just to be a citizen here and to be constructive here. Because if they don't see me doing it, there's really not a reason for them to do it. So if anything, I've actually become a role model, which is the last thing I ever wanted to be, but I've actually, in a way, become a role model to some of these kids. So. To me, there's more avenues in the lower 48. You have more possibilities. I mean, just the fact that you can get in a car, drive for an hour, and be in a whole different environment is different. Here, you can get in a car and drive for an hour, and it's the same. You know, you could fly for an hour, and it's the same. So it's like we don't have the variety here. And this is still a small town. I mean, honestly, I feel like we're 10 years behind. For example, in the schools in the lower 48, I'd imagine you have your primary languages, you know, the 4 or 5 that may be in the school. Well, in Alaska, you could have 10 students that look like they could be exactly the same culture, and they speak 10 different languages. And we're putting them in schools with teachers, you know, fresh out of school, that barely speak one language. I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be funny, I apologize, but they barely speak the one language. So we're trying to combine cultures, we're trying to combine, and we're not paying them enough attention to even to do that. We're just saying this is what you need to do. Running out of kids. I mean, success for me would be to have 30 kids in a program and them deciding they didn't need it. You know, them deciding that they had grown past that, them deciding that they could do that on their own. That's success for me, is turnover, if that makes any sense. If I could have, you know, different groups coming through, that's success for me. To see the kids actually stand up and have these ideas on their own. Because my idea is not to run the program. I want the kids running the program. I want to make it as easy as possible on them, but the idea is that they run the program. It's your program. You know, and so my job is to make sure that you have the tools to do it. I would say 100% get your plan on paper. So I would just say, if you have an idea, it's not dumb. If you have an idea, it's not dumb, and push forward to find a way to make it happen. Go with your heart, and if you feel it's something that can work, it most likely can. It's not going to be easy, but there's people here that can help you do it.